Welcome, everyone. I'm joined by two participants of the last bootcamp in November 2022 and two participants of the bootcamp about a year ago, the second bootcamp in February 2022. So I'm doing the round here. Ilse, you joined our last bootcamp in November last year. Can you quickly introduce yourself for everyone who will be watching this recording later?
Okay, hi, I'm Ilse. And I started my journey with joining the 100 Days of No Code Challenge, the free option of going through all the emails. And then I joined the bootcamp. Experiencing it both was awesome. And I think bootcamp was better because of community and having people around and actually working on our ideas and pushing me to do it.
Nice.
So that's my short introduction.
Right. And you joined us from Latvia. Are people in Latvia familiar with no code already, or are you one of the first Latvians?
There is a really small community. I see that they want to start making events. They were the first two, but I would say it's a new thing. But I feel like a pioneer a little bit here.
Nice. All right, great. Satya, you were one of the peers of Ilse in the last bootcamp, joining us from India. Can you also quickly introduce yourself for everyone watching this recording?
Sure. So I'm Satya from India. I was a teacher educator earlier. Then subsequently, post-COVID, I discovered or took myself on a path to explore many creative options, and no code apparently was one of those things which was easily accessible, especially coming from a non-tech background. And I started exploring it, and I came across what Max was doing like a year before, but found it a little hard to do the 100 days no code all by myself. So unlike I couldn't continue. I did some designing stuff, but later realized that there is also a bootcamp that he was hosting. Then I thought that I should join the bootcamp. Previously, I had experience joining cohort-based courses. Like LC rightly pointed out, one part is the content, the other part is the community itself. And me and LC, we're in part of the same subgroup, and LC is the one who was like, Satya, how is it going? I mean, just the fact that there is somebody on the other side to understand your journey and to keep you accountable and to nudge you and cheer you up once in a while, that is really amazing, even though you get stuck. And so that was really good. And unlike other cohort bases, I found out is that like you can actually come there and work together as part of the bootcamp. So that was a big change. I don't have to do outside of it. I can feel free to do it, but I can come here, learn. So there's a session by Kate that happens. Then there's a Notion document that gives me a checklist of what to do. Then we all come together and do it. And so that was really a great opportunity to learn quickly, and it sort of accelerated my growth curve.
Nice.
For that.
Great. Yeah, great to see you again as well. Also from India, Shalini, you joined us about a year ago in February. So yeah, it's a year ago already. You joined us for your work, basically, for Trello. If I recall correctly, it was part of your job to join the No Code Bootcamp. Yeah. Do you recall what made you and your boss decide you should join this one?
Yeah. The reason why I joined was we thought we wanted to ship while we were building the product, which is completely built on code. We wanted to ship side products using no code so that there's still value delivered to community builders who were our target audience. And leveraging no code really helped us ship products faster. So we had about 6 products that we launched in a span of a year that helped us, 6 products on no code that besides our main product, and which we launched on Product Hunt with help from Michael, who's also a no code builder in the space, and help from Max and you. And the entire bootcamp was just adding on to the momentum. So earlier we were just very familiar with how Notion works. So create docs on Notion or create basic lists on Airtable, but then we didn't know what to do about that. But from then to now, we have our entire website built on Webflow, which is a massive no-code tool. We use Zapier, we use Airtable, Notion, we use Make, and to the extent that we also use a lot of no-code scrapers to help us ship things faster day in and day out. And it's not just me, it's like the entire team at Fedos now. Very much, like no code is in their vein now.
Awesome.
So the boot camp definitely helped because I think from not being confident about even, like being able to build something, rest alone shipping it, till the end of the towards the end of the no camp, we had an MVP in place and we also ended up launching it on Product Hunt, and that was a success. So that was like the best outcome that could come out of the boot camp.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you are still using this a lot at your company, but it was also great to see that you are really building during the bootcamp for your job. On the contrary, Kat, I think your starting point was quite the opposite. You were basically not doing this for your job, but to get rid of your job. Is that, do I recall it correct?
Yes, more or less, but I also sold it to my employer, so they paid for it.
All right.
And then I quit.
Yeah.
No. So the full story, I discovered no code and started using it at work for some small solutions. But I wanted to learn more, so I started the 100 days challenge. But I think after day 3 or something like that, I was already distracted because I had 1,000 ideas and I never could finish the challenge. So I thought maybe the bootcamp is a better fit for me because you have the accountability to really finish something. You have the scheduled live sessions. You have a little bit more focus to really get an MVP finished. So I joined that one. And it was a good decision because, yeah, I really loved it. Meeting all the people, all talking about and geeking about no-code tools and building stuff together. So that was really fun. And yeah, now months later, or actually a year later, I quit my job and I'm now working in no-code full time. So the bootcamp has been a pretty big change for me.
Yeah, nice. Great to hear. I see you all nodding. That's all right. For context and a disclaimer, I've been a participant myself in the bootcamp as well, in the first one from Max. His tryout, you could say. It was in October 21, but after that I joined the team in January, so only a couple of months later because I loved it so much. So that's where I met with you all here, but that's a disclaimer for the people watching this recording later. So this is not about me selling the bootcamp because I'm now biased, of course, because I'm part of the team. But I invited these alumni to share their honest stories. But yeah, I do relate a lot, like you all know. I do relate a lot. I had a lot of fun as well. It was a pleasure to connect with you during the program. Satya, before you joined, do you recall which expectations you had about the bootcamp before we started back then?
Yeah. I mean, so more than expectation, I want to break my overwhelm of like a lot of tools that is available. So one thing I finally got to master before joining the bootcamp was Notion, because I took a Notion course and it was far more user friendly. But anything step above that, like even to access Airtable or software or even Zapier, for example, was little overwhelming in many ways. So I just wanted to break the overwhelm for myself. So that was so to say the point of it. But I surprised myself in many ways that I sort of became a fan of Airtable and built like 4 or 5 software mini apps. So I didn't know that. I mean, sometimes you also need that validation, that like to the point kind of a help. I remember our conversation that we privately had, and you were actually helping me like how to set the table so that it shows up better on software, how they list in the list details. So those kind of like to the point support when you're stuck was really useful. So that actually cleared off my overwhelm. So it didn't, I'm not saying that it made me an expert out of it, but at least it broke the overwhelm that I had of like, can I actually be participating in this no code movement that is actually happening. Now I'm glad that I'm part of it, and it's up to my wherewithal if I can take it to level 2 or level 3.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest takeaway for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, great to hear that. And Shalini, when you were applying for the bootcamp as part of your job back then, so you and your boss probably looked at a lot of opportunities to learn no code. Do you recall what made you decide to join the no code MVP bootcamp? Which considerations you had?
Yeah, I think before joining, I think one thing that I was always skeptical about was, will I be able to learn it? Because I thought no code was really difficult. Like the learning curve was going to be steep. And but we had been following Max's journey. Is kind of a pioneer with the 100 days of no code hashtag. So we always had the no code community kind of angle that he'd started creating on Twitter in mind, and we were following his journey. So really inspired to take the leap through his tweets and like through the information that he kept sharing. So we thought this was the best to go ahead with.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So yeah, you were already following now. Well, Ilse, you already said you were doing the 100 days challenge already. So that's how you got to know about the bootcamp. And I can imagine, Kat, you also had to justify for your employer back then why to choose this bootcamp, why this would help you. Do you recall if they had asked any questions about it, why this would be a wise course to follow?
I was in our company. I was part of the innovation team.
Hello.
Of the innovation team, and there we were, really working on being more agile and lean and build products very fast. So it was pretty easy to convince them to subscribe so that I could participate in a no code bootcamp. So it really fitted with their mission. So it was easy to convince them. Yeah.
Ilse, well, after you applied and got into the program, we started with a warming up week 0 with some tour around some of the no code tools around. We had several different tools. Do you recall which tool you liked the most? We did in the warming up sessions.
I think I like still the most Notion, but maybe because I knew it before, so I felt a little bit better about seeing it again. But there are a lot of tools, and I was actually happy that I had a little bit of my 100 days already. I got something, because I noticed that there was one question what people asked, how much time it takes to be in the boot camp. And it's something that people should, I don't know, sort of put aside this time, that if they join the boot camp, they are like having it priority 1 or 2. So they would have more time to spend on learning the tools. I know that the first 2 weeks I was a little bit busy with other things, so I maybe missed the learning about the tools, but I know that I have the lifetime access to the platform. So if at any point I want to go back and see something else, then I can go and check them up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The whole bootcamp program is 30 days and is working towards launching your MVP, your minimal version of your product. And we start with week 0 always with a couple of just warming up milestones to build your first automation, for example, or your first personal website with .page, the funny tool, but also a Notion wiki or a form with Tally. So just to warm up, and then we are going into it. Week 1 is all about creating automations and pick your ID. Were you already in the right mindset from week 1, or how do you reflect on the first weeks Satya, how was it to get into the right mode to build with no code?
So it started with a lot of excitement, apparently, and there was of course a valley of desperation in between. You realize that there are so many ideas popping up and so many things that you can do it. So unfortunately we are spoiled by plethora of choices available, right? So I can do this, I can do this, I can also do this. So so it was. But again that first week, I was just really glad that I was part of this really invested community, and we all of us are not from tech background, so we are most of us, I believe, are not tech background, and we had this idea, a passionate idea that we want to see come alive. So that was really amazing, just to be in that presence, just to be in that community, and the kind of discussion that happened over Slack. So that was there. So the first week was in that way pretty fruitful, and we know that we'll be jumping into all the technical aspects of it soon. But the first week in that way,
Yeah.
happy with.
So yeah, that's after the first week, you got, if I translate well, you got really excited about everything that's possible. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I recall that Jackie today on Twitter also said something like it about the overexcitement about the possibilities and how to balance your time during the bootcamp, because there's regular work or family or other stuff. How did you deal with that, Shalini, during the bootcamp, to on the one side learn about all those new possibilities, like Satya also mentioned, but on the other side also balance it with your work and other things? How was the time division for you?
I think, first of all, Kat would agree that our bootcamp had a lot of energy. All the participants were, amazing. So it was really something that we would look forward to join, all the sessions. So we naturally had the energy on. And the timings, I think it was about 10:30 India time, and it would go on till 12:30, 1 o'clock. But I never, there weren't moments where I didn't want to join because I was too tired from work or family. But looking forward, because I really wanted to just take the leap and get done with my MVP, and I knew I just had 30 days to do it, or I won't be able to do it ever. So that was my motivation to keep going at it, and I think you guys helped us keep the energy on. Were always motivating it, and really liked the way you keep nudging us, at various points. Hey, how is it going? And keep frequently, you were, checking in on whether you're done with the ideation, how's it going with Notion or Airtable, do you need help? So yeah, that was really helpful for us.
So that's what distinguishes it for you with a self-paced course, the social aspects. That's what helped you to keep going. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Were you in the same peer group, Kat and Shalini, or back then? I can't recall. Well, yeah.
Not the same peer group. No.
Not in the same peer group, but in the first week you met your peer groups. On the Fridays we have the peer group sessions. Kat, how did the peer group dynamic help you during the bootcamp?
I really enjoyed the peer groups because it gave you the possibility to have a closer connection with some of the persons from the bootcamp, and we really had a very fun vibe in our peer group. We had the best name in history, I think. we were Crud Zeppelin, so we were very proud of that, and we even had a logo. But yeah, I think we met every Friday for 30 minutes, and then we shortly talked to each other and shared our difficulties or asked for feedback. And yeah, it was really fun to really make friends actually like that. Yeah.
Nice. Are you still in touch with some of them, or is it afterwards, or did it just go out of the way after the bootcamp?
We're still a little bit in touch, but they're also all of them are really my biggest supporters on LinkedIn and on Twitter. So everything I do, they really keep supporting me and cheering for me. So that's really nice.
All right, so you grew a deep relationship there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Since it was only in November, so it's only a couple of months ago since the last bootcamp. Ilse, I really remember well. You really enjoyed the sessions. You were taking way more time with the peer group sessions than we scheduled because they are only running for short period of time. But you ran out of time each time because you enjoyed it so much. But how specifically helped it you with building your MVP during the bootcamp?
So we had this awesome task to get to know each other's ideas and then check in the eyes which idea is making the eyes sparkly, and then you know that that's the right idea. And it was actually also your suggestion, Harold, that we should make MVPs that we want to, and that it will be fun for us to build. So we are excited about what we are doing, and it's not a chore. And discussing with others, it put us all on the track that we are working on it and saying it loudly to others. And we immediately have accountability buddies. So there is no way the way out. If you say that you will build it, you will have to. And yeah, we had a really nice group together with Satya and Arin Zaya. So we all made our MVPs, we launched them. So yeah, we were working hard on it.
Nice. Yeah, great. So far, you're all really enthusiastic about the No-Code MVP Bootcamp, but I can imagine that there were some struggles along the way as well. And I really want to give an honest perspective to people watching this later and still on the fence whether to join or not to join. In hindsight, if you have to reflect on that, what was your main struggle during the bootcamp, Satya?
So, I mean, my major sort of a point is that so there were a few people who came with like, this is my idea, this is my business, and I want an app for it. So the so to say the technology and the need fit was, they just have to find that out. For me, it was the other way around. So I also had like series of idea on one side, and I also had like possibilities of tools on the other side. So for me to match which tool, which idea would fit to which tool, and which I should avoid. So that took a bit of time and struggle. Maybe even I think we were discussing about it, like how can we actually see, like if you want to build this, you want to use software. So software has a limitation of creating only directory like apps. Of course, you can have this membership, but there is a limitation to it. So these kind of things, maybe I think over the period of time, you might be building it so that the entry point to choose that particular tool for the specific problem that I'm having is much more clearly charted out online. So that was a bit of a but again, it's part of the learning process.
To find out what you need. Yeah, some people come in with a really clear idea to build for the MVP. That's not a prerequisite to join. For example, you, Shalini, you are clear focus to build the product for your business. It was a resource directory. So for you, it was really clear. Did you also, when you came in, Shalini, did you also already knew which tools you wanted to learn, or how did you come up with the stack with the tools to use?
So I think I was more or less clear about the idea, like what the product can solve for. And I had listed down features that I wanted to build as a part of the MVP, but then the struggle came in when, I was trying to fit in all features in those 30 days, like build all features in those 30 days and then put it into the MVP. But then later I realized we have to prioritize what are the key features that can be, like solved for in the 30 days, and it will make the product impactful and we can keep optimizing in the future. So the struggle was more around prioritizing what features would make the MVP effective. And once I had narrowed down the features, I was able to, think through the tech stack versus earlier it was just all over the place. I was not able to understand, how to even get started, although I know what the product should look like.
Yeah.
Which is where, you and Max both helped out, ticking off what shouldn't be a part of the MVP.
Yeah. So for Satya, it was more about finding the idea, but for you, it was more about how to scope the idea, what you were struggling with. And then, of course, that's where the whole program is for, to help you to find it. And you clearly found a great solution for it. The sessions, the live sessions, are always scheduled at 5:30 London time, GMT. With some little kids in the house, Kat, I can imagine that was also a part of your struggle to find some quiet space time. How did you experience that with the live sessions?
Yeah, that was for me maybe the most challenging part. If you are in Europe, the timings are if you have kids, the timings are a little bit challenging because it's the time that they are home from school before they go to bed. So that's very busy in the house. But yeah, I had some good deal with my husband that he took over the kids and I could join most of the sessions, and the ones that were really a problem, I watched the recording later, so that was okay. And for the build weekend, it was a little bit the same because that's a whole weekend that you want to work on your project. But also there, I knew the date from the beginning. So I called the grandmother and the grandfather, and the kids had a fun weekend, and I could focus on my project. So that was okay. And I think the live sessions were really worked to really be there, because you have this opportunity to ask an expert of the tool, ask more deeper questions, and they can really give you some advice in which steps you need to take. So I think it's worth it to make time for the live sessions.
Yeah, the whole program is already on the website, so everything has fixed days when the live sessions will be hosted. And like you mentioned already, Ilse, you can always watch the recordings later on the learning platform. And you were looking into this also after the bootcamp you mentioned. So talking about the learning platform, all material is hosted on an online space where all the information is, where the videos are. Ilse, how did you experience the learning platform?
Oh, it's great, because I could say that the homeworks that I didn't do and what I have to learn. And before the sessions, we have pre-reading, so you are ready for the session. Then there's the live session, and then if you are more interested in the tool, you can learn even more. So it was great that you get different kind of information, the one that is very crucial for you to understand the tool, and something that you want to dive deeper and spend more time if you actually choose this tool as your main tool for building your idea. And I think for me, the best feature, and Harold, it was lounge sessions. So after live sessions, we could meet with others in lounge and discuss our ideas and share resources. So it felt like an after party after having a study session. All the best about the platform. I really enjoyed it.
You never missed a lounge session, did you?
The first one, because I was not yet convinced that I should be there. But you shared in Slack community that you are there with Shu, and then I was there in all of the lounge sessions. And my evenings are pretty long. And as you mentioned, what was the struggle? I didn't go to gym. I didn't go to gym for 30 days because I was so into bootcamp.
Yeah. So that's we hear a couple of good lessons here. So when kids are involved, ask your other half or other family to take care of the kids in the evenings or in the build weekend, but also find a solution for sporting, or maybe just pause for a few weeks, which is also fine if you have something else on your head. So yeah, that's some great lessons to learn here. During the bootcamp, we have a whole group of experts around in the Slack community, and also during sessions they are available. Did you connect with them for the things you were building, or how was that going, Satya? Were you connecting with one of the experts, and how did he or she help you?
I mean, both of you, like Harold and Kate, are here. I'm very much in touch. Yeah, I became a software fan, so so that's a telling. So,
Yeah.
so that's that, and yeah, and even like started connecting with other no-code builders, and we formed a small little Twitter group and sharing sharing resources, learning strategies, etc. So that is also helpful.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. Maybe the people who watch this are already following them, like Jason, who is a really good expert in Zapier and APIs, and Mark Fletcher helped out a lot of people too with database stuff, APIs, and there are many more experts around whenever you have any questions. But also like the peer groups help each other a lot. So I wanted to wrap up with a final question for all of you. What was your biggest lesson, besides, of course, learning to use the no-code tools? So what was your biggest lesson? And what would be your advice for someone who's still doubting, who's still on the fence or joining the bootcamp? Ilse, you are on my top left corner here. So yeah, what was your biggest lesson, and what would you advise someone else?
So I really like that your learning style is that you push people out to talk about the ideas, so you build in public, and that would be my best lesson, and something that I suggest to everybody, because building is one thing, but building in public is something different. And it's amazing when you get the support from people and actually testing and telling you, oh, you should do this, or I would like this, and how will you improve it? Yes, so this build in public thing. And if somebody is still thinking, I would rather say, like, if you're still thinking, then the most probably the answer is yes, that you should join, because you don't know how your life will change. Because mine changed kind of significantly after the boot camp, and I'm really grateful.
Nice. Doing the round, Kat, what's your main lesson and your number one advice for someone joining?
I think my main lesson was that perfection is your biggest enemy, because normally when you have an idea, you start with this master plan, and in your head you already have 1,000 features and the best brand name and a beautiful design. But what I learned in the bootcamp is really focusing on that MVP, where you really have to start small, go build really fast, and just focus on that main feature and launch it and go for that first small win. And then you can talk to users and you get motivated, because you already did one step of it, and then you can keep building and improving, etc. And really that lean mindset really made a big change for me, because before that I was always having those ideas but never finishing anything. And really trying to focus on that minimal version really helped me in launching a lot.
Yeah, awesome. Shalini, it's a year ago for you, but in hindsight, what was your main lesson and your advice for people who doubt about starting the bootcamp in February this year?
Yeah, I think one biggest advantage, I wouldn't say that lesson, but a biggest advantage that I had by joining the bootcamp is while you guided through the 30 days intensively, but then we kept shipping products even after that. Like, we still continue to do that. But the entire community is so supportive. And even today, if I have an idea and I need to brainstorm if that idea is worth shipping, or how do we go about it building the no-code tech stack? I know that we can always do it with you even today. So that's the biggest advantage or the leverage that we have in like signing up for the boot camp, because we have that rapport with you and so many other people in the community. It's always good to have that bouncing board for our ideas even today, even after a year. And yeah, I think that's also like the strongest reason why I would recommend anyone to join the boot camp, because the community is so powerful even after you are done with the boot camp.
Nice. Yeah. Satya, wrapping up with you, it's still fresh for you, only a few months ago. What was your lesson and advice for new participants?
I'll actually like say very specifically to people who are from India. So in India, we have this vast technological divide. Like there are people who are very savvy in coding, programming. So the Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, hosts most of them. On the other side, there are people like me having zero no tech background, zero coding experience, but still want to build something. And I think this is a great entry point to get ourselves familiar with the technology space. Now, I'm happy to call myself as a co-founder of a tech app that I'm building with another friend of mine, which would have even be possible without this no-code community, and especially for India, people in India who may not be in the technological space. So use this as an opportunity as frog leap into the technology space that is fast growing. So I highly recommend them to use this as an opportunity to get into the space. If not, you're missing a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, that aligns great with the mission of 100 Days of No Code, started by Max in 2020, that we are on a mission to democratize tech, to make it available for everyone to build your own IDs. And that's really, in hindsight, for myself, the biggest lesson. After doing the bootcamp, I finally am able to build my own IDs, and I don't have to ask my technical co-founder anymore. I can build it myself. So that's the biggest gift I gave myself in the last couple of years. So really glad I did. And also how I experienced your journeys when helping you with the bootcamp. It's really great to see your ideas come alive. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the next round. Starts at February 6th. So people watching this afterwards, if you have any questions, feel free to answer on the email you get from me with the link to this recording, or on Twitter, my account. I will put it in the email as well. And I'm sure these 4 alumni are also happy to answer all your questions in an honest way. So let them know what you want to know. Thanks for you all, Ilse, Kat, Shalini, Satya. Thanks for joining here. I'm looking forward to follow your journey as well. You've all been busy with no code, so that's going to be fun.